You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Oh, hey, folks.
No big hey, folks. No pop on the top or anything.
Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
How we game.
It's Thursday night. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Wayne.
And we've got a guest tonight. Our guest on the line, Chris, coming out of Texas, my man from Pop and Tot on YouTube. Chris, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Howdy. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for inviting me.
Welcome back to the show. I mean, you're certainly a long-time contributor, but people now can put a face with the name if they haven't caught you on Pop and Top before, I should say. So
that's fair. Well, thank you guys. It's a pleasure.
I like how he opens up with howdy. Let's say he's from Texas. He comes in with the howdy.
That's what they do.
Right. Gotta represent.
That's what they do.
And can't really tell on the cameras, but Wayne is in studio tonight.
He's on a separate little camera over there.
He has his own separate camera, but here he is. He's in studio. We're all three of us in studio getting games played tonight.
Yes.
And let me come off that camera.
Games. We did get a couple games in before the show tonight.
Yeah.
We did. We got some games played tonight. We're also going to do a Give It the Beans tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do our Give It the Beans. We'll do some Twig, some This Week in Gaming.
Yep.
And then we got some other geeky goodness that we'll get into. And,
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I know this is your first time on the show. There is no format. There is no structure. That's about as deep as it gets.
I think he knows. Yeah. He's been around long enough.
So hopefully you'll stick around as long as you desire and leave as early as you want. No harm, no foul. You stick around for as long as you want.
Yep.
We're just going to be doing what we do on Board Game Night.
Oh, yeah. And Wayne
Sounds
hasn't
like a
been
plan.
on in a couple of weeks. Not hasn't been forever, but I'm sure he's got a few things he wants to catch us up on, probably particularly with the geeky goodness and recent plays. So I'm looking forward to that part. But we don't want to jump the gun. Let's get back to where we start.
Well, I know we also had the game day. Y'all did a game day this last weekend, so that's definitely going to contribute to the Twig, This Week in Gaming.
For sure.
And then we're going to get into what we're starting with now, which is our Give It the Beans. We're going to give it the beans on a little game called Stone Spine Architects.
Nailed it.
I had to practice that a few
I
times.
practice the name, yeah, a little bit.
I've been calling that game Stone Spire
I
for
can
the
see
last 6 months.
that. There's a lot of games with Stone Spire in them, so I can see that. That's all right.
It's Stone Spine Architects.
It is.
And we're
I think I've said Stone Spire as well.
Oh,
Do you?
really?
Is it- so it's not just me.
It's not just you.
Yeah.
just expect it, folks. I'm gonna probably mess that up tonight. We'll botch it. But when we give the beans here on the Beans and Dice, what we do is we talk about the BEANS, and that's the basics, the enjoyments, the E for enjoyments, the A for aesthetics, the N for negatives, and then the S for the summary. We're bringing Chris into this episode because he has a physical copy of the game.
Sure does.
We have all been BGA players of the game. Chris introduced at least me to the game.
And me, yeah.
I don't know if he introduced you, Nate,
All three
but
of
he
us, yeah.
invited me to a game, and that's my first time playing it. So for that reason, I thought we'd get some expert, hands-on opinion on there. He's accredited and officially a YouTube contributor with his own YouTube channel.
Woohoo.
So we're going to bring him in for this Give It the Beans.
Not that we weren't looking for an opportunity to get you on anyway, Chris, but this was just the right time. It fit in perfect.
It worked out great.
Yep.
All right, let's
All
start
right.
with the basics. Chris, you want to give us the basics, the lowdown. What is Stone Spine Architects?
Nailed it.
Sure. So this is a set collection, closed drafting game with little hand management. It's also simultaneous, because drafting games typically are. So what you're doing on your turn is you're basically got a hand of cards, and you're deciding which card you want, playing it in front of you, building out your dungeon. And then you take that hand of cards and pass it to the player to your left. And then you get their hand, and then you take a card and do the same, and you keep going around and around until all the cards are gone in your hand. That signals the end of the round. And then you're basically building a grid of your dungeon, 4x4 grid. And you're going to get those 4 cards, play them. And then once you get your 4 cards out, then there's going to be some money you get to spend. And each of the cards have gold values on them that show you how much money you get to spend. I'll show you a little picture of it here. So we got at the very bottom, there's the gold value. This is gold value of 4. And so you'll just add up your total gold value along with all of your treasure chest, which the treasure chest is this right at the top. You add up the sum value of that. That is your money to spend for the end of the round. And the end of the round, there's going to be in-game objectives that you will be able to select. So you're drafting in-game objectives. If you have the most money, you'll get to choose first. There are also these tiles that you can take instead. There'll be a market of various tiles. And these tiles have different components of your dungeon. So you'll have victory points is one of them. So there's these little star symbols. You'll have traps. And you'll have these little cool ladder looking things, which let you connect rooms together. So there's these various assortment of tiles, and each of them have a value on them. And you often will get 2 of these tiles because these little cards will tell you how much each one is worth. And you'll select those. And then basically, once you're done spending money on these tiles, you will select one of these in-game objective cards, which will be, score at the end of the game. First person basically who passes will get to do that. And then turn order is determined by the first person who passes will be the first person in the next round. Even though it's drafting, there is a tiebreaker element. And obviously, whoever gets that has the most money will be able to buy these various tiles. So their turn order does matter because those tiebreakers sometimes do take effect. And that's basically in a nutshell what it is. You're going to do that 4 times. It's a 4x4 grid. And then you're going to score up all of your various elements in your dungeon. You're also going to score up all of your paths. So you'll have a path to your start at the very top of your dungeon. You'll have a path to the exit of your dungeon. You will score every card that is connected to both. So you'll count up all the 16 cards you have in your tableau. You will see how many connect to your entrance. You'll see how many connect to your exit. And then you're going to get up to 32 points based on that. If all of them connect both, that's 32 points. Less than that, you get less points. And that's pretty much it. You also have an objective that everyone is going for as well that is played out at the beginning of the game. So everybody's vying for that objective. If you have the most, you're going to get the most points. If you have the second most, you'll get the second most points. And I don't know if there's a third place for that one. I think there might be. I think it's first, second, and third are awarded points for that objective. So you'll basically have 3 objectives that you have drafted throughout the game. You'll have a global objective that everybody's vying for. You'll have points for connecting your rooms to the exit and the entrance. And then you'll have these element cards. Oh, I haven't gone to the blueprints. Everybody will have a blueprint card. And this blueprint will tell you what components you would like or what you need in your dungeon. And so you will follow this guide. I'm looking for it now. You might be pulling up on there. And you will follow the blueprint as best you can to score the most points from that blueprint.
Blueprints are going to dictate what you want where in your 4x4 tableau.
Here's one.
There's a good example.
Yeah, here's one right here.
Yeah, so it's going to show your 4x4 for those that are just listening to the audio. It'll show the 4x4 layout of your board. It'll show where your entrance is and where your exit is. And then it's going to show you what types of things, what types of creatures, or what types of rooms you want in certain locations. And then the more of those you meet, objective-wise, the more points you'll get at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one for reference. So you'll have various monsters and traps on these blueprints.
They also tell you the types of dungeon tiles that you draft come in 2 flavors. There's stone dungeon areas, and then there are dirt-based dungeon areas. And so you might have seen on those cards, they will dictate to you that Chris got examples of both of them there, I think. There's the stone background and the dirt background. But then on that overlay card that you're trying to lay out, one of the other things it has on there is in those particular areas. You can mix in your dungeon, you can mix the stone and the dirt backgrounds. But this one, like this card that he's holding up now, there's 4 areas there that you want to have the dirt background, dirt-based parts of the dungeon in those locations.
Mm-hmm. There's the dirt one right there. It's got a little mountain symbol on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like unfinished. It's kind of more of a cavern than it is a proper dungeon. You would think, with a dwarven dungeon which is finished.
Yep.
With flooring.
Cool.
That's pretty much the basics. Like that's what the game does. Any thoughts on the basics that we missed?
I don't think so. The only other thing I was going to mention is that it is fairly structured in the layout. So Chris mentioned you're drafting. It's around each round you're going to draft 4 cards. So you start with 4, you take 1, you pass. You go down to 3, down to 2, down to 1, and whatever card you get last is you just place it where it is. And so you would think laying out these little paths through the dungeon is not maybe so hard, but the structure of getting that last card and just having to play it and then later figure out maybe how to loop back around to that one if it doesn't fit in with your design. But the structuring of the game, so all of the first 4 you're placing, they're all going to go on the top level, so you can't place them anywhere in this 4x4 grid. They're going to have to go on the top level. The second round, the second 4 cards will go the second, then the third, then the fourth. And so you've got this structure that you're having to abide by. When you place that first one, if you place it in a corner, it's in the corner. You can't ever move it because your grid is kind of set. It doesn't scroll around or move around. So the next cards you draft, you can put them anywhere. It doesn't have to be next to or attached to the card you already played. So sometimes you're laying these out in kind of separate areas, hoping you're going to draw the right cards to give you the right paths to connect them up somewhere down the road. So it's very interesting in that way, and there's a little bit of
it is very structured.
Yeah, placing a card, and it's not just throwing it anywhere, and it's not easy to connect these things. So
let's talk about the E for enjoyment in the beans. Wayne, what's one thing you enjoy? We'll go round robin until we run out.
I mean, the theme is kind of cool. It's quasi Dungeons and Dragons. You're taking the opposite of the thing. As you think about, you play the adventurer. In this, you're playing the person who's designing the dungeon to trap the adventurers, right? So it's kind of you get to play the opposite side of that. So the theme is there, right? It's not super drenched in theme, but it's a kind of a cool concept where there's been some other games like that. There's like Boss Monster where you create the dungeon.
Yes.
And so it's similar to that. So I think I enjoy that aspect of it, that it's got the light, fantasy type theme, and it's you're building a dungeon instead of going through the dungeon. So
This is the same company that does Role Player, right?
I believe so.
Is that right, Chris? I know you.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yep. So
Thunderworks Games.
It's that meta game to the theme. Like, okay, we're in the role-playing world, but you're going to play a board game about the role-playing world or one aspect of the role-playing world.
That's probably my enjoyment, so jumping over to me. But that's you guys like the role play and the Dungeons and Dragons part of it. I'm not a role player, but this game definitely has a lot of, I won't call it Euro to it, but I'm trying to meet all my objectives. I'm really trying. I could care less about the theme. I could care less if the kobold's next to the trap, next to the blob monster, whatever those things are. But I'm more about hitting the objectives. I got a blueprint. I've got a structure here. How am I going to do things? How am I going to maximize my points by putting things in the right places? I'm thinking ahead about that coins, getting the coins. If I can't put a card right where I need to, and another card will work, I'm going to take the one that has more coins on it. So then maybe I'll be higher in the drafting order once it comes time to buy those extra things. Maybe buy a secret passage and connect 2 things that didn't connect before, something like that. So I like it's thinky enough for my Euro brain that I could care less about the theme and stuff, but it's still fun because of those mechanisms and trying to put things where they belong.
They did cartographers.
Yes, that's the other one.
Cartographers.
That's exploring the land to try to find regions and draw a map for the queen.
There you
go. Role player is building a character for a D&D style fantasy game, and then here you're drawing a dungeon. So it's like you're doing all the stuff that you would do in a campaign as a dungeon master, but you're doing it through board game mechanisms. I think my enjoyment is, for me, the blueprint card. Like, that is the check the box activity that distills the game down to its simplest form for me. Like, okay, if I can just check these boxes by putting these things in these right places, then I feel like I'm 70% through my scoring.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's like a big chunk of my scoring. That's most of the game, and it keeps it simple for someone that is going to play this on its easy mode, not as a super thinker. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to overanalyze it. I just want to fill in my blueprint and feel good about that. Everything else is just icing on the cake.
There you go.
I like the blueprint card. Chris, what do you like?
I just like drafting in general. Closed drafting is a lot of fun because I have a hand of something. You don't know what I have. I get to pick, and then I get to see what's next. And I like the decision space there with the closed drafting. So that's number one. Number two is you get to build something, right? You start with nothing at the beginning, and then you get to build this 4x4 grid. Then you've built something, and it's cool to see all the traps, the monsters, all the little elements in your dungeon that's unique to you, because everyone's dungeon is unique at the end of the game. So that'd be probably my two things there that I really like.
All right. Did we miss any enjoyments?
I think covered it for me. Yeah.
Okay. So that gets us to the A for aesthetics. Fellas, if I'm right, each of us have played it. Here at the studio, I mean.
Right.
My man Wayne over there, myself, Rob. But we've only played BGA, right?
Right. All online. Yep.
Let's give it the BGA treatment real quick. What are your thoughts on BGA and how it's implemented? Chris, you can jump in on that because I know you've been a part of that gameplay too.
I think it's a very good implementation, and I love you can click a little button and it shows the paths.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's nice.
That's like the best aesthetic to me is like instead of having to like trace it with my eyes, I can just click a button and little blue line comes through and shows you where you're connected and not connected.
Yep.
So I like that aspect of it. It's very easy to understand the iconography and stuff like that. So I'll let others add to that. To me, I'm going to steal that. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Board Game Arena, that makes it super simple. You hover over something, it tells you what it does. So it tells you what it is. If it's a kobold or I don't know, whatever the little red thing meanies are, but
the red ones are the kobolds.
Or the green ones. Orcs, goblins, whatever they are. So D&D stuff, geeky stuff. But anyway, so you just hover over them. It tells you what they are, and then same with the your objective card. You can hover over it; it'll give you a little hints on it. So yeah, the online version makes it really easy, and it's a good implementation. Doesn't let you on Board Game Arena on BGA. It doesn't let you make mistakes. So I believe this one has an undo button, if I remember. So maybe
it's not quite an undo button because that was going to be something I enjoyed in the implementation.
Okay.
Is I can pick what card I want to draft out, right? That I want to send out, and where I want to, which card I want to pick and where I want to put it. But then I have until everyone's made that decision.
Oh, okay, yeah.
To keep that, because at any point I can be like, I changed my mind. As long as not everyone has made their decision,
Right.
Yeah.
you have the ability to change your mind. Once everyone has made their decision, then it's locked in and it gets placed in that spot.
Okay.
So that does kind of feel good in the implementation. Not an undo button, but kind of like waiting for everyone to put a card down.
A cool off period.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Any thoughts on the BGA implementation, Chris?
Yeah, it's great. I like the live scoring feature. You get to
yeah.
see how everyone's doing until the end. There's going to be some in-game scoring, but you kind of get a good gauge of how well you're doing as the game goes on. And I like that. I also like the show path button. I always use that. So you don't have to try to look at each card and try to figure out, okay, where am I going? Where am I going? You just hit show path, shows you all your connected points. So I think it's an incredible implementation.
I don't think I've ever looked at the board states, plural, for everyone in the game and been confused. So looking at BGA, its implementation, I can look at everyone's board. I can easily see what are our goals, what's going to get us points. So it's so it's never been confusing. I've played some BGA implementations where I'm like, I'm not sure who's doing what or how are we scoring this. Like it's just so simple.
Yeah, agreed.
Now the physical copy, we don't have a copy here at the studio. Chris, you've got a copy. Can you run us through the aesthetics? So component quality, artwork, storage, all the stuff that goes along with is a board game good to have physically?
Absolutely. So we've got this nice little player board here. It's a pretty thick cardboard, very good quality. It's got a solo side, so it does support solo play. So double-sided board here.
Okay.
So that's nice. It also has these etches at the bottom, and this is where you put your turn order disc. Everyone has a disc for turn order, so that's pretty cool. It has a nice custom insert where you keep all the tokens.
Okay,
So it even says Stone Spine Architects on it. You got that. The insert itself inside is custom. It's very nice. Everything fits nicely in their slots. Everything has a place. We have the linen finish cards. Very good quality. Yeah, very good quality linen finish. With the gloss, linen, glossy, all the good stuff there. The artwork, obviously, you guys see on Board Game Arena, but you don't see the back of the cards on Board Game Arena, I don't think.
I don't think I've ever seen the back of
no,
the card.
it's
So
first
let's
time.
take a look at that. I think the artwork's really good on the back of the cards.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's got like a gate there. Then like this one, this is your market cards. So you got a Minotaur there. And you
See,
say,
that's
show
that
me the
dude,
money.
Like his outfit is so interesting to me. It's just so weird to
Break
me.
down his outfit.
And then the blueprints, the backs, see, has a blueprint
little blueprint, yeah.
nailed to the wall or nailed to the brick.
A little wax seal.
And they didn't have to do that. I mean, they got good detail. You got, then these are the objectives that you're drafting,
Okay.
in-game objectives. You have that. And let me see, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's that. Then there's a solo deck that it comes with for the solo mode.
Okay.
So you have that, which is nice. And then you have these very, very handy dandy player aids.
Which is what Rob needs to be able to identify creatures.
Oh, yeah. I don't care. The
love
red
that
one, the blue one, the green one, whatever.
It tells you whatever all the elements are in your dungeon. There you go. It's
Okay.
starting to.
The cube and the blob.
Yep. And then the other side has final scoring. So you know how you're scoring points.
Okay.
It's got that. So, yeah. So I think the card quality is very good. Like I said, the other components. Oh, yeah. I haven't gone over the disc.
Yeah, the coins and stuff. I assume the coins are cardboard.
Yeah. So these are actually wooden. These are wooden discs.
Player
for each
markers.
player. Yeah.
Screen
player
printed.
markers. Screen printed there. There are no coins, Rob, because the coins are on the cards.
Oh, okay. So they don't actually give you physical coins to add up.
Mhm.
Okay.
But let me show you where you keep track of your coins. On the player board, this is coins at the top.
Okay.
All this is coins.
Gotcha.
So you just put your disc on wherever you have coins, and then as you spend money, you move it down the track.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
It also, if you notice here, has the in-game bonus for whoever passes first. 9, 6, and 3 points for first, second, and third. It also has a place for these here. You can see these cards go here. The gold cards, yep. The challenges go over here. And the market cards, yep, go here. So I mean, everything has a place around the board, which is nice.
Cool.
The box.
I think one thing that we
is
haven't
good, too.
really discussed is the iconography. So much like Shem Phillips and Garfield Games, if you've played one, you can mostly understand the iconography in any other. And I feel that way too with Thunderworks, is if you've played one, you can figure out what the iconography is on the next one.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Absolutely.
That was the aesthetics. So let's get into some negatives. Anybody got thoughts on negatives?
It's getting a bit samey. You know, I think we've played it. I've played it somewhere between 6 to 10 times, probably. Right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And it's starting to get a little repetitive, and I feel like there's a little bit of luck in the draw, right? Like you can just get a bad draw, and like the cards that you're handed all just don't fit, and you can't line it up, you know. And I think the third negative I have is like those little tokens that allow you to bridge a gap, like a secret door.
Oh, gosh,
tunnels,
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are very rare.
Yeah,
at
there's only a
least,
couple of them. Yeah.
and they're bought immediately.
You're never
You're
get to
never
them.
gonna get
You
to
never
it
see
unless
them.
you're the first player.
The secret passages that connect the two cards.
Yeah. So sometimes it's hard to create a path, or like, and it's not super hard to create a path. I always seem to get a path through,
But it's
right?
adding everything else in.
Everything else in that gets a little bit it's hard, and if you're not getting the money right, and so there's some. I don't know. I don't know the right way to say it. There's just some clunkiness there, I guess, in that if you're not getting the right draw, then you're just kind of behind, and it's hard to catch up.
And there really isn't a place to discard or to kind of like just shove a card in a corner, because every one of those 16 slots matters for points acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
So in some games where you get like a bad card or something, you're like, yeah, I'll just tuck that over in this area. It really won't impact my game too much. No, it's there. Now you got to do something with it. How do I connect it? How do I at least make this card positive points for me?
Right.
So it is a little painful if you don't get a good set, especially I feel late on. Like once you've kind of set paths, you set what you need, and you're like, okay, this card has to be either this or this. And if it's not that, then and I didn't get any of those options in this draft. So, all right, that was a waste. And you can't rely, like Wayne said, you can't rely on getting the token you need because they seem to go so fast.
And there's games that I don't even see that token come out, right? So it must not every card like has like when you flip over for the I don't know what happens in the physical game, but in the other game, you know, it displays here you're purchasing
your market options,
and there's several rounds I've had where in the market there isn't one to even be bought.
Right.
Like, you know, and so that
Yeah, I think there's only a couple through the whole game that I've seen. So yeah.
All right, let's keep beating this dead horse. Anybody else got negatives?
I was just say, well, Chris has played the physical. I haven't played the physical. My feeling is the physical version may be a little fiddly, just because you don't have a whole lot of tokens that you're putting on. But as you acquire those extra traps or those extra bad guys or the secret passages, you are putting them on a board that's, as far as I would know, certainly not a dual layer or anything like that. So I would imagine a good bump of the table. If somebody were to bump the table, it could kind of mess up what you're laying out there, and then putting the cards down. You're just building a 4x4 grid, so not as big a deal. But those paths and stuff matching up, I mean, it's definitely something you don't want to accidentally wipe your hand across and mess up your dungeon, because then it's like, oh crap, now I need to remember to try to set this back exactly the way that it was. But probably not a big issue as long as you're not playing ping pong around your board game.
Rob tends to bring up this idea, this thread, when he talks about certain games.
Hit a table and it goes
right. So it always makes me wonder, like, what kind of people are you playing with, Rob?
Exactly. We're doing gymnastics.
And then I realize it's me.
Yeah, it's Carlos.
He's playing with me. This is why he's worried about it, because he's playing with me.
Tree trunks.
Yeah, don't bump that table, Carlos.
I got Jimmy Dean sausage fingers
off the table, and we keep hitting
our knees every time we slide in.
Y'all still talking about how I made the table lower?
Yeah, it's too short. We
bump our knees. All right, Chris. Any negatives over there coming out of Texas?
I would say the same thing. Yeah, it's those tokens, if they fall off your cards off the dungeon, you don't know where they are. I mean, that's gonna be a problem. I've never had that be a problem as long as you have a solid table that doesn't move around a lot. Mm-hmm. So I would say that. The other thing is, I'd say the first time you play it is a lot of points and a lot of things going on. Believe it or not, I mean, the mechanisms are simple, but there's a lot of point scoring, a lot of things to keep track of. So I would say your first game, don't expect much out of your score. Expect to have a low score. It's more of a learning game. Second game, you're going to be firing all cylinders. At least for me, I think the second game, it clicked for me.
The first game, I wasn't sure what was going on, but by the second game, I was enjoying it. To rebut Wayne's negative on the sameness, there are a lot of games where I can just enjoy it, even though it's samey. I think Stone Spine Architects, which I've been mispronouncing, I guess, for a long time now. Stone Spine Architects is one of those, because for me on BGA, I just don't have the brain capacity or the time to really like deep think in these. And this one just allows me to, okay, I know what I'm doing. It's super simple. I'm going to pick this and drop that. This isn't like Castle Combo for me, where Castle Combo feels like there's so many things going on that I have to connect a lot of dots. This one has just enough dots that I need to connect. I can enjoy the sameness on this one.
I got one more thing I thought of. Again, I don't want to sound like we're beating up a game, because I do like the game. It's fun. It's quick. It's simple, but fairly simple. It's got some depth to it. So we talked about briefly that at the end of each round, you're drafting a set of objective cards. And there are lots of times where I might be third or fourth in that taking of those cards. And the cards that are out there, Chris is showing one now, the cards that are out there, sometimes 3 of the 4 are worthless to me. And so unless I really make an effort to pass first, which means probably passing up some other good things just to try to get that one card that I need, a lot of times I feel like I'm taking cards that I really don't want. I really don't even care about. It's just like, oh, I got to pick one of these cards. Let's just pick one. And that's where a little bit of hate might come in, because that might be a spot where I scroll down on BGA to Carlos's board and be like, hold on, what is he doing? Oh, he probably needs that one. All right, well, I don't care about any of these. Let me take the one Carlos needs. So
he's got like 18 kobolds in here. Let me take the one that gives him push or kobolds.
Exactly. So
yeah, I always feel like I'm losing out on the best of the market stuff.
Yeah.
And then also losing out on the best of the objective cards. Like, if you're not picking first or buying first.
Okay, come on, Ricky Bobby, say it. Say it, Ricky Bobby.
If you're not first, you're worst. Right?
If you're not first, you're last.
I know. But and that's where it gets a little where I'm like, I like the game, don't get me wrong, but I think objectively it's
a little frustrating.
It gets a little frustrating, and it's hard to catch up. Right?
Yes.
If someone else is grokking it and has their thing going and gets a lot of gold and is buying the things, that first round or two can really set somebody a good deal ahead of everyone else, and it's hard to sort of end strong.
And this is good. This is, and I know it sounds like we're going long on the negative part, but this is good because people are going to want to decide if they want to buy this.
But like you said, I think this Cartographers, they're good games to play, and yeah, it's samey, but a small game like that is gonna be samey, right? I can't think of very many small box games that aren't, in some respects, samey.
Right.
Well, let's wrap this bad boy up. Let's get the summary going here, and then we'll open up the phone lines. Because remember, folks, I like to cut these into separate videos.
Yep.
So this will be its own video. And for you folks that are just watching for the Stone Spine Architects aspect of it, remember, this is a call-in show. And on Thursday nights, we take live phone calls from you, the gamers. You call in. You own the show. For 10 minutes, it's yours. You take it in whatever direction you want.
Yep.
Talk about what we're talking about or talk about what you want to talk about. We just talk about gaming and other geeky goodness. Thursday nights right here with the Beans and Dice. Share it with your friends. Let's get into the summary. In summary, I feel this is a try. And it's a try for me. I would put this one behind. Okay, so in playing all three, let me say this. It's a try. Playing the 3 games that I've played from Thunderspire, Role Player, Cartographers, and Stone Spine Architects. For me, Stone Spine is in the middle. Cartographers is my number 1,
Oh, really?
Stone Spine in the middle, and then Role Player coming in somewhere very bottom, very, very bottom right now for me.
You never liked the role player, but yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't grok it.
Good game.
You have it in here somewhere?
Oh, I
No,
own it. I
no.
own it, so he doesn't own it.
Lots of games in here. Role
Role
Player
Player.
is not one of them.
Oh, yeah. It's
Should be a staple of a library.
I need to give it another. I keep saying it. I need to give it
Yes.
another try.
We need to try it again.
Robert,
It's
any
definitely
summary?
definitely a try for me. I would say it's fun. It's on the lighter side. It is the theme and stuff does a little bit for me, even though theme's not really my thing. I mean, it's cool. It's that dungeony thing that I like, so that works. But I would say definitely a try. It's definitely not an immediate buy. I don't even know if I would say at any price point. If I don't know if you picked it up for $10, maybe if you got a steal, which you're not going to find it for that probably. But if you picked it up for $10 or $15, it would be, I'd say, buy it anyway because you'll probably like it. So you might as well buy it at that point. But otherwise, I would say it's a try. Give it a try before you invest any real money into it. So.
And BGA is a great way to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I don't think you mentioned it for those that are listening, maybe for the first time watching this. Our scale is basically you buy, you try, or deny it. So would you buy it? Would you try it? Would you deny it? And for me, I'm probably a try into deny because it's on BGA.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's okay. Like I like the game. I think seeing the physical components, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I think I'm a big proponent. I buy a lot of games that I play on BGA. I think
That's why I said wow, because that didn't sound like Wayne.
Yeah, I think, but I've also realized that there are some games that I play enough on BGA where I don't feel the need to own it. But then there's a lot of games that I do play a lot where I'm like, I want to own it. So I'm probably more into buying than not from games on BGA. But the fact that this is on BGA and the implementation's so good, I'm kind of like a try to deny because it's an enjoyable game, but I don't see the need to own it because I can just play it on BGA anytime.
And Chris owns it.
Yeah, the guy who actually bought it. What do you say?
I say try it. Everyone should try it on Board Game Arena. But if you like card drafting a lot, as much as I do, and you also like tile laying, and you like that combination, that marriage of the two, I would say consider buying it. I mean, granted, I would still try it on Board Game Arena, but I would consider a heavy try to, consider buying it if you like those two mechanisms. You like what you see, buy it. But if you don't like card drafting, if you don't like tile laying, or those aren't your favorite mechanisms, then probably not want to buy it. I'd say just try it out, and you're probably good after that.
Agreed.
And then lastly, I'll say that I personally enjoy playing the physical version better than the BGA. I would say that with almost every game, though. There are a few exceptions, but I love playing it with the physical components because the component quality is very good. So if you're a person that likes good components and a $40 price, then that might be another reason you might want to buy it.
All right, well, that's our thoughts from the Beans and Dice crew, plus Pop and Tot, Chris from Pop and Tot. Our opinions on Stone Spine Architects. Don't forget, Thursday nights, live call-in show. Join us. You can call in live during the show, even if you're not watching on YouTube. Just know that anytime between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be taking phone calls, and you can just call in and see if we're available. If not, leave a voicemail or email us at beansanddice@gmail.com with your questions and comments. Thanks so much for watching our segment of Give It the Beans. And now we're going to roll into the regular show. So we're going to get into the phone lines. We will open up our phone lines, 813-618-7099. Chris, you're welcome to stick around as long as you desire. There is, when you're ready to roll, totally fine. You book out. I know we go all night. So we thank you for joining us for that segment and helping us record that. We're going to go through the comments here in just a moment. And let me get this
we
phone
can start
line
pulling
open.
that up while you're doing the phone lines there.
Let's see,
Phone
not too much.
line.
We got James Odak, a little buenas noches.
Hey, James.
We got Edmund England saying, hey guys.
Edmund.
And we got Farhan saying, missed the last couple. He said, what's up, guys? Missed the last couple weeks. And then glad to see him back. And the rest of the comments were either me or the show. So
Okay.
not too many comments. We got a bunch of people watching. No one commenting yet. So, but feel free.
Sweet. We got that phone number up there, 813-618-7099. Call in. We do have the one phone line, so if you hear somebody talking, you're not going to be able to get through, but if you call, you can either, if you want to just leave us a little voicemail, we'll play that live afterwards, or once you hear somebody hang up, that's your cue to call in, take over the show for, 10-ish minutes. Don't have to talk about, again, what we're talking about. Talk about anything going on, board games, news-wise, other stuff you've been doing, and later in the show, we'll get more into, but you certainly can take it over earlier with our recent games played, other geeky goodness, TV shows, movies, anything in the geek world that we like talking about. So, Carlos is moving a camera.
I'm going to move the camera, but if y'all want to get started on the twig,
on the twig.
Yeah,
on
we
the
can do
twig.
Twig or
This week in gaming?
Yeah.
What
Let's
about
start with-
Wine Cellar?
Oh, we can start with that, sure.
There we go.
Oh, Wayne's got a copy of it there. Oh, yeah, you got your own camera over there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Woo, multi-dimensional now. You're
know,
moving from
right?
one dimension to another. That's trippy.
There you go.
But you want to give us a quick breakdown on Wine Cellar?
Yeah, so we got my Kickstarter copy of Wine Cellar. We played it twice tonight and once this past weekend at the game day.
Right.
It's very, very simple.
Right.
Love it. And I think we played it 3 times at 3 players now. So I really would love to play it at 3, 4, 5, 6. Even the full 8 count.
Sure.
I think it'll scale really well and not add the time. And I think each of the 3 plays at 3 players was maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
10 to 15.
Once
max,
you know it. Yeah,
well,
once you learn it,
max
yeah.
15 minutes. So
Yeah.
it was really quick playing game. Component quality is really good and simple. You get a deck of cards out of the wine bottles that have country of origin, type of wine, and then a rack where it is on your rack of scoring in place 1 through 8, and you score it kind of diagonally down the rack. Very simple to teach. I think it 2-minute teach each time.
Yeah.
Here's the
about right.
card.
Yep.
Here are the 4 components of the card: the bidding value, the country of origin, the type of wine, and where it is on the rack. And what you bid this round becomes what gets bid on the next round. You do that 8 times and you're done. So it's really super simple. Rob is grokking it. He's won all 3 games that we played.
3-0, baby. I'm
3-0,
retired. I'm
yeah.
done. Yeah, I'm out.
So it played really well. I'm enjoying it. I got crushed. I think the first game tonight, not crushed, but like just so happened that Rob got like all the high cards for bidding, and I got nothing but under 10s. So I lost every bid the entire game.
he's
And
not bitter.
Yeah, I'm not
he's
bitter.
not- he's not
No,
upset
not
about
bitter at
this,
all.
no.
Actually, I'm really not. It was just but it's interesting is like, you won by about I think 20 points,
Something like
right?
that,
So,
yeah.
but it's really there was not much else. Really just you got the 3 sparkling again,
Sparklings,
right?
yeah.
Which
Mhm.
that's kind of like something I'm hoping Chris can speak to, because in 2 of the 3 games we played, the sparkling card with the person you're trying to buy wine for, your whatever
Client, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
They 6 per sparkling. If you get 2 or 3 of those sparkling, that's 18 points. That
Yeah.
that crushed it.
That's a lot.
That was a 20-point difference between you and,
Yeah.
and everyone else. So
Yep.
plays really super simple. So even if it sometimes has that lopsided thing because someone got the sparkling, got all the sparklings, and that may be unbalanced, but that's the only thing I'm seeing so far.
Good thing it's such a quick game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if it's lopsided, then you just reset it and play it again. I mean, we played this 2-3 times just to kill 20, 30 minutes. So, yeah, good deal. Carlos played it for the first time tonight, so he can give us a first-timer's take on it.
Quick to pick up, so that was nice. It was easy to pick up the game.
Like a minute teach, right?
Yes, but it was, man, it had some, there's depth in there in different like labels, right? So you got labels for country of origin, you got labels for the types of wine, so like 3 or 4 different wines, and they all score different points. But what's cool about it is when you're making these decisions on where to place them, so when you get them and where to place them, if you're looking at your bonuses, you can kind of begin to see the pros and cons, the offsets. Like, well, if I buy this wine, it's not in my preferred wine category, but it's got a very good number for the slot that I put it in. And then you start doing that cost benefit analysis trading, and that's where it really gets to the juice of the game. Like I'm squeezing out every little point I can get out of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can buy that wine, but it's not of my country of origin. It's going to be worth 6 points in this spot. But if I buy the other wine that is in my country, I'm going to get the 2 points plus the low scoring for that slot is going to be 1 point more than I would have. Okay, that's the best bet. Like finding those connections is where I really enjoyed it.
It's a tight design, so yeah, it's like I said, they definitely did squeeze a lot out of there. So you guys go ahead with those. They did, and I say they actually. Let's give credit here. No, one of y'all can rank that if you want it. Who was this? Who's the designer?
So Andrew Stiles.
Oh, Andrew Stiles
is a designer, and he's been a guest on a bunch of the Full 42 and the Whiskey Wednesday guys and some of that. So
Vincent Dutray with the artwork.
Vincent Dutray with
artwork is really nice. But like Carlos was saying, they squeeze every little bit out of here. I mean, it's really just a deck of oddly shaped, long, skinny cards, which are like little wine bottles, which is really cool thematically. But they did a lot with just basically a deck of objective cards and a deck of these wine bottle cards. And I'll say it's a pocket game, even though, again, these cards are, I mean, we could pull one out here
go ahead and pull it.
and demonstrate.
But you could, I mean, the box is huge. You could easily downsize this box pretty easily.
For sure. But just because of a little bit of the odd shape of the cards, which again is very thematically cool, it does prohibit it from popping it into any pocket. I mean, that's not going to fit so much in just your pocket of jeans, or maybe you got a better camera over there, Wayne. But they're long, skinny cards. So I don't know if you're going to find sleeves for these. Although these cards, I've talked about it a couple times now. The quality on the cards, they're linen finish. They're nice and glossy. I think you could probably spill some liquid. I wouldn't let it liquid sit on them, but you could spill something on them.
Yeah, they have like a bit of a coating.
Yeah, you can wipe it off quick and they'd be good.
You can kind of see this is the entire game right here. You've got the deck of cards, and this is an 8-player game.
Yeah.
You know, if you were gonna travel and you knew you only had 4 players, you can bring just the stack of 4 and a bunch of the things. But I mean, so giant box, you know, for this.
Yeah, they squeezed it all a lot out of a little, just two little decks of cards, basically. Yeah. So, yeah, good game. And Chris, I know you've got probably some input on this as well.
Yeah, I like it. It scales great. It's one of the best scaling games. I played it at 3, 4, and 6, and it was just as fast. I like the interaction. Now, one of the things we didn't talk about yet is on your goal cards, you have a country of origin, you know, that you're trying to achieve. As you add more players, more countries are available for scoring purposes, which I really like. It's another way they scale it very nicely.
Yeah, if you go like the 3-player, you score 2 countries, and then when you get to 5, you score 3 of them, and yeah, so that'd be good. So, have you found so at least in 2 of the 3 games we played, that sparkling card where you get a client where it scores 6 per sparkling? Have you found that to be a bit of a not overbalanced, but a little overpowered?
Is that the one that just has 6 and you get nothing else? It's just 6 per sparkling?
It's usually 6 for sparkling, maybe one per something, like 1 per red or 1 per white.
I don't think I've found that. Now, I will say that if you manage to get a lot of sparkling, you have a really good chance to win when you have sparkling as your goal.
Yeah.
There's some in the game. I don't know if that was a promo one that it's just for one thing. You're only scoring for, say, sparkling. You don't score for countries or anything. And I feel like that was the 6th one, but I'd have to look at it. I would say, though, yes, if you have a card like that and you manage to get all the sparklings, you're going to probably win. But you can try to hate draft, quote unquote, to try to get some of those sparklings. Now, you don't know that, but if you see they're taking them a lot, you can say, So you kind of got to be aware of what people are doing and what they're taking a little bit. With more plays, you'll be able to do that. But, yeah, that's a strong combination.
And I do like that. It is kind of all face up. So as you're bidding and as you're playing and as you're putting them in your little tableau, it's all face up. So I can look over and see, he's got 3 sparkling already. That means he's really going for sparkling. He's got 2 or he's got 1. He's definitely looking for those, type of thing. And it's hard to, it's not hard to balance, but I love the you have to balance the order of the cards, and you can only go top and bottom. And getting one bad bid and getting the last card and having to put that in the top or bottom could skew your whole like little diagonal and really cost you a lot of points. And that's so grokking that, I think is you have to be solid there. You have to be in the mid range on those points and then go up from there. So
Yeah, I was just looking here. So there in the base game, at least here, that Wayne has there is a 6 and 1 where sparkling is 6 per bottle, and then the red is 1 per bottle. But it's a little strange. I'm not sure why. But then there's another one in that same base game that the sparklings are worth 3 per, and that makes sense. And then the reds are worth 2.
Yeah.
So it's kind of offset a little bit. So okay, but yeah, it's either 6 and 1 or 3 and 2 with that sparkling.
Well, there's enough gold cards in the game where you could just take those out if that becomes a problem consistently, Wayne, or what have you.
Yeah, and there were some like promo ones from the Kickstarter too.
Oh, I didn't see those.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you got.
And that's this one right here. It's like 6 per.
Oh, 6, just flat 6. Okay,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta look into that. I think I might look at that to take out the sparkling ones that are 6 points because it does sort of maybe unbalance it. But we'll see.
I thought so because when I got the sparkling, I was all excited. Like, oh, it's my turn. But mine's only worth 3 points each.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I did pre-order it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good game. I like it. And we talked about you. Thank you, Carlos, for bringing me a drink. This is
Salud.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love it. As far as portability, you could ditch this box.
Yeah.
And like I held it up to the camera before, Carlos, when you were in the other room there. But I mean, this is the entire game.
But where am I going to find those sleeves?
Yeah, not sleeves. But I mean, like you could literally just throw this in a. I mean, you could throw it in your backpack.
Your pocket.
This is
That's pocketable.
A little long
This
for a
is
pocket.
this
but,
cargo shorts.
Oh, your toddler pockets that you have,
big
Robert.
pockets.
No, but,
yeah.
but I typically wear cargo shorts, right? So the side pocket on a
Yes.
cargo short, this
Yeah.
would easily fit. in
Any
there.
man-sized jeans, like Rob's Oshkosh bagoshes, aren't
You're
going
not
to
fitting
work.
that in a front pocket of any size jeans. Unless
Hey,
you're
Rob,
Andre the Giant.
You got wine cellar in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
Yeah, something.
Got them skinny jeans on.
He stole his son's pants.
I told you, here's what's interesting too. I love it. So, the game came with a pencil.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, throw a pencil in there.
I was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
I mean,
Kickstarter version only.
yeah,
though.
maybe who knows? But
I still remember Robert and I joined an
two
episode of Ant Lab Games. We did an episode with them, and one of the co-contributors was so upset because he bought a game from Pencil First Games,
Oh, didn't
and
have
it
a
came with no
pencil?
pencils.
No pencils.
I remember how upset he was.
False advertising.
yeah.
Pencil last.
But no, it's a really fun, quick game. I am looking forward. I think this is the kind of game that you could bring to a bar. My wife will play it. My kid will probably play it pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm fun.
Good game.
Yeah.
All right. So this week in gaming, what else have we played?
Yeah, and this week in gaming, we talk not just about like games that we've played because we are consumers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We are not this part like this content creation stuff. This is just a part of our hobby.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're board gamers just like you. We are consumers. We consume not only playing games, we buy games, we sell games, we consume content about games. Any one of those topics is fair game for this week in gaming. Chris, do you have any this week in gaming?
Yeah, I'd say Lord of the Rings, the new cooperative game. It's now on VGA.
Yes.
Wait,
I have.
Yeah,
The
there's a new, it's like a
pandemic-based
pandemic
System,
version of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already on BGA, but it's not even been released.
Nope. It's on BGA though.
Is it a
Fate of the Fellowship. Fate of the Fellowship.
Is it
There
a
you go, Fate of
beta?
Fellowship.
Oh, yeah, I think it's on beta. Right?
Yeah,
It's
it's beta. Yeah, it's beta.
Yeah. I got invited to a game, so I wasn't sure. But
Yeah, it's,
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't played it yet. I'm excited about it. I haven't had
me.
time.
I'm
Yeah,
afraid to
no.
take the first turn. I want to figure out how to play it before I start choosing stuff. So
Yeah.
So I
am
won't-
I in the same
ahead.
game as you guys?
you might be. Yeah.
Is it the one with Mr. Jeeves?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's in there. Yeah, I have to look. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, like we're all asking. So is there a video on how to play this
I gotta go
anywhere?
figure out how to play it before I start screwing
Yes,
things up.
there
so.
is.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I haven't looked yet.
That's what I was gonna say. I've seen the video and I like the gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One-stop co-op shop.
Oh, Mike from
Okay.
One Stop Co-op Shop.
Nice.
He does
He
great
does
work.
a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that one. That sounds good.
Yes.
Pandemic theme. with
Yeah,
the Lord of the
and
Rings.
it's not a pandemic game. I think they call it
like that
a
in the
pandemic.
Inspired. I don't know.
I can't because they did that with Star Wars, which Chris, you got me onto.
Yeah.
And they did that with Rome, the pandemic Rome. I love that's my favorite version of Pandemic,
Well, we got a bunch of them. Yeah.
the Roman one.
How about the one with the dams? That was.
Whoa! It's not even 10 o'clock,
Supposedly that
bro.
was
Watch
bad.
your mouth.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mr. G's, he's laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Probably thought-
He's in that game with you.
he's in that game with
Yeah,
you.
that
Oh,
is,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that. This week in gaming, we'll talk about games in a second, but I have now sold or traded 23 games from my collection in the last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a productive.
An
this
achievement.
week.
It's productive, yeah. We I kind of pulled the trigger. I had Dan, who'd been on the show. He does a lot of business at the Dice Tyrese virtual flea market. And I said, hey, show me how you post stuff. And it's like so easy. And I posted one thing. I'm like, well, that took like 2 seconds. What else can I post?
Before you know, your whole collection was
and there's
on there.
it's pretty cool. Like you can go and post your own stuff really easy. Or if your BGA collection is up to date, there's a tool you can just import your collection, and then you can just go boom,
Click on
buy
them.
now or auction, starting bid, whatever, and post, and it's there and it's up for
Nice.
sale. And what's cool is that the tool, if you especially have a game with like expansions, you can choose the base game and say, I want base game and all these expansions in one listing, and here's the price. And so I went through my collection and I said, here are games that I've owned for 20-something years that are garbage, and let's see if I can just get rid of them. So I put a bunch up there for $5, a bunch for $10, sold a bunch of them already.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's cool. And the ones I've posted already, I'm probably going to do a bunch more this weekend. Probably have 40 games or so listed and sold about half of them already. I'm going to probably post another 20 or 25 this weekend. And what I've decided is a good chunk of the ones, anything that I've priced $10 or less, if it doesn't sell, I'm just going to donate it to like the library or donate it to Goodwill.
Yeah,
But it feels
I have a library. I have a library.
Donate
you
to
want, you
Carlos.
can have them. They're all crap. But no, it's good. And what's cool is I've had a couple people like, "Hey, I kind of I want this game. Would you be interested to trade? Look at what I have for sale." And so I've done a couple of trades. But like I traded away a first edition of Lord of the Rings, the Battle from War of Middle Earth, whatever, for like 2 other games. So
Okay.
great.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm campaigning. So I'm gonna go to Dice Tyrese with the goal of having sold more than I buy, and coming back with money in my pocket. So that's the goal.
That'd be good.
Well done.
It actually gets addicting when you start selling games. Like I get why Daryl loves doing it, because I'm like, what else can I list? Let's see what I can do. Like come on.
Let's see what other crap can sell. Yeah.
I love this for you. I love this for you.
Yeah, not for you. Though.
Not Carlos's thing, but no. Anyway. All right. Before we started the show tonight, one of the couple of games we played, because we did get in a couple of games of Wine Cellar, when I was making it on there very well. Brian Baru. So Michael, you like to see that we
Wayne Cam.
finally got this played. Yeah, Wayne Cam. We finally got this played, and I'm going to let Carlos speak for himself, but he loved it.
I think I'm going to buy this game.
Yeah.
You have it.
Oh,
This your
is that mine?
Buy another copy. Give me that
I mean,
one.
no, you should go buy the game.
That was been promised to a Mike or somebody, but yeah.
No, I've had this game in my collection. Robert brought this game up like once,
Yeah.
like one time he talked about it, and I was like, this was early when he first played it.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm buying that, and I bought it, and it's probably been on the shelf for 2 years or more, unplayed.
Yeah.
Just unplayed, just sitting here. I bought it used. So glad, because we were gonna play a game tonight. Rob was coming over, and then Wayne said he was in, and we're like, okay, that's 3 players. We can get Brian Baru in.
Yep.
So we got Brian Baru in. It has so many layers.
3 to 5 players.
That's the thing. It's at least 3 players, and that's because it has trick taking as its basis. So trick taking is really only good with 3 or more players, but it has the wargaming or historical pieces that I really enjoy, including area control. It has different. Rob calls them mini games, but I call them like aspects. So you've got this Viking invasion that you're trying to fend off, and you get good stuff for doing that.
I did.
You've got the churches and an area where you want to expand in your churches, and you get good stuff for doing that. And then there's this marriage track where you get good stuff for doing that. And then there's using your cards to get control of cities on the board in order to get not only city control but region control, so you control a region, but then also diversification of being in multiple regions. So there's all these different areas that you're trying to get influence on, all in 3 rounds of 3 hands of trick taking. So in 3 rounds of 3 hands of trick taking, you've got to figure out how to balance all of that in.
The most important thing is this shiny, cool box.
It is a very cool box. I will say that. It is a
Osprey
cool box.
Games did a great job with that. I can't. I am so glad we got this to the table. The first thing I said to Rob was, my concern is like finding other people who'd be willing to play this.
Yeah, but it at least at 3 players. I don't know at 4 or 5. It played so quick that I'm cool with it, right?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game. I think probably, damn, Carlos.
Yeah, coming down on me there, but
I think Carlos is a little higher on it than I am at this point, but only 1 play, right? I'm cool, right? It was a good play. I definitely made a couple of like mistakes in the bidding that I'm like, okay, I can first game, yeah. But in general, really enjoyed the game. It was quick play, and that's what I love is.
Dang! All right. Well, those of you who aren't watching or can't see, or watching, listen later.
Carlos is tearing the place apart.
Off the shelves.
No, but I think I like the quickness of the play and the depth. Right? You talk about there's a lot going on there as far as what to bid, when to lose a bid. To be very strategic about it. So it was cool.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
We were in the middle of playing it, and Rob's like, "Yeah, who's the designer on this?" And he's talking about Piers. This is why I'm knocking everything down. I'm trying to get to the certain game on my shelf.
Pull it out.
Piers Sylvester is the designer, and I'm like, "Man, that name is familiar." And then it hit me. It was right behind me, right over my head. The King is Dead is also an Osprey game by Piers Sylvester, and there was a lot of the feels that I got out of Brian Boru that were in The King is Dead, but the trick taking piece of it is, I think, because this is more of a cube pusher for influence control. You're playing cards to move cubes around, which Rob loves.
Yeah.
But Brian Boru, I think, did it better. Piers Sylvester did an awesome job with these 2 games, both The King is Dead and the Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland.
Without going too far down the rabbit hole, trick taker or not trick taker?
No, I think. I mean, it's not the only mechanism, right? Because I think it's a trick taker in the sense that you are trying to win tricks, right? We're playing a card, high card in suit wins, but I think where it's not it's still a trick taker, but there's strategic as far as I want to lose this trick. I think in most traditional trick takers, you want to win all the tricks,
but
this
that would
one,
be
you
like
want to lose some.
That would if you don't call this a trick taker, it would be equal to saying Dune is not a deck building game. Right, so it's like because deck building is a part of Dune, but not all of it. So I feel like this to me almost, it kind of feels like that. Like this is the Dune of trick takers, the trick taker of Dunes. Like in Dune,
similar.
you're using deck building to do area control to win stuff
and to move up tracks,
different tracks. But here you're doing it with the trick taking mechanism, and maybe that's why I like it so much. It gives me that combat-y feel.
Has a little bit of that Doom thing. We got some comments here on it. So Farhan said, would love to hear your thoughts on Brian Brew. Hey, we're doing it. Just played it last weekend. And he said this was my 2nd game. I liked the game so much I sleeved it after the first play. So
nice.
You found sleeves for those big cards? Nice.
Yeah.
I love the box. And speaking of the box, it's the same thing with like the new
Tokaido, which is also on my twig.
It's a small box, thin. So it fits in, especially in the Calyx, and I use the Besta shelving from IKEA. You always have a shelf where it's like you have like 2 inches of space where, if I just had a game that was like half the size of a normal box, and it is. So yeah, I would.
But it is very sparse with its components. Mm-hmm. It did so much with so little.
Yeah.
It's just a sack of disc, right? We got like this little sack of disc that we got, and then some rings to mark churches and the active city.
Yeah,
I think that was it. Like, or maybe some Viking tokens,
and Viking tokens, and stuff. But you could bling it out, I'm sure.
It's so simple to set up and to get going. It's just it builds and it grows as you play.
Yeah.
I also loved how. But we're going deep on this one.
We are.
I loved how it added these roads into the game.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of other war games that I play. What I mean, like tabletop
this
board
one
games.
has access to this city or that road, or and then there's the landlocked ones that we.
Some of them are remote that I got stuck with the whole game, but
that was great.
Fun game. Definitely, we want to play it again.
Yeah.
Would love to play it at 4 and 5.
4 and 5, I think, might be a little better even. Just
I think
the interactions, but yeah.
Now, it's not a team base at all, is it?
No, 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 no.
Peter Sylvester did The King is Dead.
Yes.
And in The King is Dead, that Rob played this wrong his first time. This is a team game. You play this in teams. When you're playing with 4 players, it is two players across the table with each other as teammates. But so this one, Brian Baru, is just no team aspect. Very nice.
Right. Yep.
That's on the twig. What else is on the twig?
We played
This week in gaming.
Yeah,
That's what the twig
Rob
is.
and I at our game day played a game where I'm mad I don't own a copy of it. Madeira.
Madeira. Yeah. It's a good one. It's a Wayne classic. Well, he's maybe looking for some information there, but this is a classic. Well,
2013, so
Yeah.
it's 12 years old.
yeah. So it's getting a little older.
Yeah.
Kind of Euro, definitely some tracks. I guess we call them tracks. Yeah, areas, little. I call everything mini games now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I looked this up, and it has a weight of. It says on BGA right here, weight of 4.3.
Oh, I don't know.
yeah,
about that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
That's not right.
No, it wasn't that heavy.
Because I turned down playing Nucleum,
Oh no.
which I was like, this is just too much for me right now. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like playing it, which is good because Jim showed up. We gave it to Jim to play.
Yep.
And then we played Madeira, and I'm like, this is definitely not as difficult as.
I don't think so.
But
no.
I mean, it's definitely out of print though, so it kind of sucks.
Oh, really?
But it has this. You roll these dice, and then you draft the dice, and based on the dice, the 1, 2, 3, you can play in the 1, 2, or 3 area of the island of Madeira, and you're moving up tracks, and you're having these. You basically purchase victory scoring tokens. When you draft the dice, you also draft a scoring token. And the scoring tokens score in one of 4 different areas. So you're either focusing on shipping wine, or you're focused on building cities, or you're focused on having guys out there. And you can so it's resource management and worker placement a bit, and then these tracks. And it was a really fun game. It was interesting if you fail to pay when there's like a primary and a secondary action in each spot, and you go through and you play the round and you do the primary actions, and then you play the secondary action. But you have to pay for the secondary action, and what you do is it's 9 gold to do the secondary action, but you roll however many dice have been placed there, so it can be reduced. So if you have to go off on your own and you go to a spot that no one else goes to, it's 9 gold, and you got to roll that one, and the die is only a 1, 2, or 3, so you can end up having to pay 6 gold or 8 gold for a spot, and if you can't, you have to take these pirate tokens, which lose you points at the end of the game. And like as you get the pirate tokens, though, there's like this little mini game where it's like each token isn't necessarily one pirate token. You can change them out. If I have 3 pirate tokens, I can put them back and take 1, 3. Or if I have like 10 pirate tokens, I can take them out and whatever. So you can try to hide how many pirate tokens you actually have. And if at the end of the game, you could lose a ton of points. And if Rob had like a pirate token, he was the only one with a pirate token in the game we played.
Going to the last round, I think it was.
Going to the last round, and he's like, "Oh man, if I have this pirate token, I'm going to lose like
16 points.
16 points."
It was like one 16-point pirate token.
Well, yeah, well, it doesn't
Remember
matter how many you have. Every time you take a pirate token, it's worth 1.
One.
And then whoever has the most tokens at the end of the game loses 16 points.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so the other guy was Chris.
Yep.
Chris and I had done a good job of not getting any, and Rob's like, he's like,
I'm losing 16 points.
and at the last second, you found a way to get rid of that pirate token.
Yeah, there was a way to get rid of it,
Huge.
and I got rid of
So
it.
it's kinda cool.
16 points.
But it's a fun.
But what's the benefit of going off on your own then?
Well, because it could be just a spot that I need to go there because
There's
I need
action you need to
there's an
do.
action I have to do here. And what it is like the action tokens. Let me see. You can kind of see right. Let me zoom in here. You can see right here. This is the action token, and you see how it's like it's a cardboard tile. So every round, those get picked up, shuffled, and put back out. So the main action moves around the island of Madeira. And as you go there, you have the primary action, and then you have the secondary action. So the secondary action is always the same. You may need that secondary action, or you may need the primary action to move a ship or to build a ship. Or
one of the important things on that, though, and I got burned by this several times, is that, as Wayne mentioned, the primary actions move around to the different parts of the island randomly, and so sometimes you really need to do that primary action, but the secondary action either you can't do or you don't want to do. You have to pay for that. If you go to that area, when it comes down to the second part of the game where you went around and trigger all the secondary actions, as Wayne mentioned, somebody rolls those die, and then you subtract from the 9, however many the pips were on the die, and then everybody who's there, whether they actually do the second action or not, still has to pay for that that amount. And so sometimes I would go places because I had to do the top thing to score a bunch of points or something. But that secondary action ended up, and that's how I ended up taking the pirate tokens, is I was somewhere where we rolled low, you had to pay a bunch of money, I couldn't pay the money, so for every coin you can't pay, you got to take a pirate token. And I didn't even get to do the action. I didn't even want the action, couldn't do the action.
And then there was another time, in order to, so you can see here, this is like zone 1, right? And you can see like yellow has presence, it has workers in there.
Yep.
Right? If yellow didn't have workers there and still went there to do the primary action, then they can't actually do the secondary action. So they have to pay for the secondary action without actually being able to do it. So there's some definite push and pull on where you want to put your tokens and where you want to put guys
So
out.
maybe that
the weight,
the difficulty or the weight in BGG is less about the rules and more about like how to get it right.
you definitely have to plan.
Because it
Maybe,
sounds
but I
like you
don't
can
know.
really mess up your game.
You can, but I mean, I don't know if it's 4.3 weight. It's more of a 3.5-ish. It's heavy. I mean, it's not like a midweight euro. This is definitely a little bit more of an advanced euro, but it's not. This isn't a 4.
I wouldn't say a 4, probably a little under a 4, I would say.
Yeah,
My
but
skill.
really good game, really enjoyable. Really bad that it's not in print currently.
I was the one who took a pirate token, but Wayne was interested in this at the end. He was asking Chris. Chris has played it a bunch. Him and Janela like it a lot. They play it a lot. They've introduced it to a lot of people, they told us. But they actually, they even taught it at a game day last month over at Alex's house. But Wayne was interested in how often do those pirate tokens really get taken? Because if you try not to take them, you can pretty much play without taking them. And Chris was like, well, it's kind of one of those things that either it doesn't happen or everybody gets some. And so I think you would like this part, that if you see somebody starting to take some of them, all you have to do is not finish with the most.
So it's not
And
about outrunning the bear.
Right.
It's just outrunning the other guy.
Right. So you see somebody take 3 or 4 of them, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I could probably push my luck and do a thing over there. And,
Without taking it,
and
yeah.
maybe take a token or 2, and I'd still be okay.
And I think
So-
what like we go back to like when I play a game for the first time, like Rob and I are like the exact opposite. Rob wants to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I find a strategy and laser focus on it. And
Yeah.
so like from the get, I'm like, I'm not getting a pirate token, and I'm gonna do this wine thing and ship thing, and
Yeah.
hammered it right. And so,
Which strategy worked out better?
well, Chris won by a point. He beat me by
Yeah,
a
so
point.
I was
It
looking
was
at
like
that.
94. I was at 93. And I think Rob
93, 92, and I was 81.
was.
Yeah.
So it was-
Okay, so dabbling in everything again didn't work.
no, but it's close. I mean, it was within
It's
10
close.
points. Now, if he
Yeah.
didn't have that pirate token, it would have been a whole lot
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, it would have been minus 16 would have
16 points
sucked,
to that.
but, yeah.
But yeah, very fun game. Enjoyed it a lot.
Madeira?
Madeira.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madeira. It's good.
I'm just going to take a quick second to recognize again Chris and Janela, who hosted. This is the first time they hosted at their place. Very nice home. I really appreciate
Really
y'all
appreciate
hosting. They did a great job. They made pulled pork sandwiches. We got to eat some good food. Everybody brought good stuff. They were very gracious. They provided drinks and snacks and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, good time.
Janela's here in the chat saying Nucleum was awesome.
Hey, Janela. I told her to try to call in. And I
James
just,
saying yes, it was. Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
I know she wanted to also mention on my round here, I'm going to mention Las Vegas. We got to
Yep,
play
that was
Las
fun.
Vegas. Fun little game. I've actually played this before. I think I've talked about it on the show a couple years ago, so it's been a long time. But fun dice chucking. I'm not going to call it a party game, although it's kind of borderline party game. It's you're chucking dice. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4,
There's
six locations. Yeah, 6
Yeah.
locations. You have matching the 6 pips on the die. So you got a handful of dice. Without getting into too much detail, you're chucking your dice. Each round you have to play all of your dice that are of a particular number, and so you're randomly laying out these money cards at each of the 6 different casinos around the 6 different locations, and you're competing for those. And it's the most die on that location ends up winning the money card. Sometimes there'll be multiple money cards because you go on each location until it exceeds 50,000, and so you're randomly laying them out. You could lay a 80 on one and done. Another one you could lay a 10, and then a 50, and then you'd hit it and be done. But anyway, so if there's multiple money cards at that location, you're competing for, like in that case, if there's 3, you're competing for first, second, and third. First is going to take the highest, second's going to take the second highest, third's the third highest. But you're rolling these dice. If I rolled 4 6s, I can place all 4 6s into the 6 area. Once we go around, everybody's picked a number and placed all their dice of that number. You pick up your dice and you chuck them again, and you do it again. One thing we did play wrong, Janelle reached out to me. You don't chuck your dice simultaneously like we did. You're supposed to chuck one at a time. So on my turn, I chuck all my dice, I lay, then you chuck all your dice and lay. So you can't look around and see ahead of time what other people.
But after the one round, you'd see what everyone has, right? Or you re-roll every
you
time.
re-roll each time. So each time it's your turn,
okay,
you
so
pick
we
up your dice and re-roll them. So you can't can't look and see the people after you, what they are going to play and what they're going to go for. So it makes it a little more chaotic. You have one die that's larger that counts as 2. So when you place that one, it counts as 2 die in a spot.
The Grande meeple.
There you go, the Grande die. And then you have another die that is purple that when you play that one to an area, you bump a die out of that area. So if somebody else is there, you can bump their die out of there. So you play until everybody's placed all their die. You divvy out the money cards, and then you reset it and do it again. And you play a certain number of rounds, depending probably on the number.
Goes
of
through the
players.
deck.
Through the whole deck.
Yeah,
Okay.
until there's like you can't refill the spot because you refill each spot gets cards that are worth money.
Yep.
And so they can be anywhere from like 10,000 to 90,000.
Yep.
But each number has to have at least 50 or 40 or 50,000 in
50 or more
50
before
or
you
more.
stop putting cards
So if you
there.
put a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10, you might get 4 or 5 cards in one spot. But yeah.
Yeah. Great game.
It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It takes 15, 20 minutes, dice chucking, real random, real lucky game. But
We're not putting an asterisk to my win, though.
Oh, no, we're not going to do that because we played it wrong. We'll put 2 asterisks on the win. Anyway, but yeah, we played Vegas. Don't confuse it with Las Vegas. Don't place it with New Vegas.
just Vegas.
There's lots of games out there, but Vegas, this has been reprinted, I think, 2, 3, 4 times. But
Yeah, it says re-implemented by Las Vegas Royale,
There you
which I
go.
think you've mentioned that one before.
we played that one as well.
Las Vegas, the card game,
Yeah.
and it's overall 607 on the BGG ranking.
This is a classic. When did it come out?
2012.
Yeah, it's an older game.
So
yeah.
just-
And I don't
just
think
hit
it's
10
really in
years.
print right now, or it's not regularly.
Ravensburger.
Yeah. It's a good game though, fun game. I would say this is definitely everybody should try this, no matter
It's fun.
how much you like these kinds of games or not. Great game, but yeah, fun one. All right, Carl, it's up to you. What's up?
Mother's Day came around, and wifey was. She said, "I want to play a game tonight." That was mom's request. And so we made it happen. She wanted to play Flip 7, so we got some rounds of Flip 7 in with the family. That's one of the ones she likes. And I figured after we got done with Flip 7, we had all the boys at the table. It'd be my chance to kind of slide in a new game. So I got the chance to teach Harvest to the family. Harvest is the 1992 game from Japan that's still waiting to get published here in the U.S.
Fun.
It'll get published now that Chris from Dice Tower is talking about it. And
Well,
it's gonna
he's
be
the reason
zeitgeist.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
the reason I decided to scoop it up. It's a very light. Check this one out, Jim Odak, because I think he was talking about Vegas being a 1.17. Harvest is a 1.07.
There you go. Beat it.
It's not even like on the scale.
I think this is probably as complicated as Vegas.
Yeah, you're splitting hairs there. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about 0.1, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they're pretty equivalent.
It's
yeah.
tic-tac-toe with vegetables. You're trying to harvest
But
these
it's
vegetables.
about trying to get somebody screwed and giving them negative point.
That's the
Yeah.
fun part. Is figuring out how to drop those points on someone else in the negative while gaining good points on your side. The family enjoyed it, and I always say it's a good sign when like hours later, wifey brings it up. Like, okay, that's one we need to play again. Like hours later, like the kids are in bed, everybody's showered, getting ready for nighttime, and it just kind of comes up randomly. Like, I like that game. I want to play that one again.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a big hit at Dice Tower.
Yeah, you guys mentioned it. I brought it back from Japan and then brought it to Dice Tower, and we played it a couple times. And then the whole course of the rest of the con,
More and more people. jumped
various
in.
members of the extended Dice Beans and Dice crew were like, "Hey, can we borrow that game? Can we play some?" So it's fast, fun, and brutal.
Yeah, and games got bigger and bigger because I think the first time I played it was just me and you, maybe.
Yeah, it was like
And
me, you,
then-
and Dan. It was like 3 player.
And
And
then,
then
and then we were at 4, and then I think by the last day of the con, I think we had a big game of
it
like
was
6 or
Yeah,
7.
we were
Yeah.
regularly doing 6-player games of
Yeah.
it, and it's the game like those big games of 6, right, where you play the full player count, and you got all the boards, and you would just the hooting and hollering of once someone played the thing, and that one person got like 2 negative 20s, and the whole and everyone was it was a game that elicited excitement.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
just ramped up, and it was quick, and people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you here." I'm gonna.
And it's got that take that aspect,
Yeah,
but it's so
definitely.
fast and so quick, and it's just it's
so
so
cute,
cute,
right? Yeah.
Yes, like you can't be mad for long because wifey's getting like a 20-point negative card, right? And she's like, "But this card's different." But yeah, he's got sunglasses because he's badass.
Is that what it is?
He's cool. Look at him with his negative 20 and his
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
That's a cool piece of
good one.
corn.
Do you order that from like Amazon Japan, or did you just order from a website? or-
eBay.
eBay. Okay.
So I found that on
Yeah,
eBay
yeah.
out of Japan.
Nice.
So it came in pretty quick, and it was okay. So this is like I think like a $15 game. You're gonna pay
Yeah,
about twice the price
Twice
to
the
be able
price.
to get it
Yeah,
shipped
yeah,
out here
yeah.
and all that.
I think I maybe paid like $8 when I was in Japan. But granted, I had to pay a lot of money to fly to Japan. So.
Yeah. Plane ticket,
hotels.
Yeah. Have it imported.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I did, and I'm not going to regret it. This one is definitely going to be one of these pocket games that goes along with me. That 1 to 6 player count is huge.
It's huge.
Have you tried the solo version, Wayne?
I have not tried solo.
The puzzle?
No.
It is hard.
Is it?
It is hard. It's a very different game.
Okay.
It's in other words, the solo bot is trying to fill the board while you're trying to clear the board as much as you can and get some points. So you're going to lose if you don't clear the board, even if it's not points coming your way. You just got to find a way to clear the board. I printed out the solo rules and the basic rules in English. Odak says Uno has a weight of 1.10. It's lighter
This is not
than
lighter
Uno.
than Uno.
Probably not. No. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving right along.
Yep.
Got Flip 7 in. I got some Harvest in. And then shopping-wise, Andor came on. We'll bring that up in the OGG, and not a lot of bringing up. By bringing up, we'll just talk about the fact that we did watch it because we don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But I ran through. This was a different. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the OGG. I was watching Star Wars stuff, so it got me wanting to play Star Wars. Okay, let's just drop that there. I asked Robert to bring me a copy of Rebellion. Like I was like, okay, what do I want to play? I want to play some Star Wars stuff. Rebellion sounds really cool right now. He brought it over. I got it on the table, and I'm trying to learn the rules and all that.
It's big.
And I'm watching Andor, and I'm like, you know what? This scope of game just doesn't get like the feel that I'm getting from Andor on, hey, play something Star Wars, man. Like that's what my brain is yelling at me. Rebellion wasn't going to fill that niche. Rebellion is that giant scope epic thing. What I wanted was what I'm seeing in Andor, that small battle incursion team, like skirmish level, like, you know, small squad special forces stuff. Imperial Assault. That came to mind. I own that. So I grab it, get it on the table. I'm going to teach it to the boy. And it's, next thing I know, I'm online. And I'm realizing, holy crap, I don't have all the expansions in this bad boy.
You're not going down that rabbit hole. Are you?
Oh, it's-
There's
it's
a bunch for that.
Ron, as you said, it also typed in Imperial Assault.
That's what Andor lends itself to. You are playing 4 rebellion troopers, different types, and you have objective-based missions. This isn't like you're not going to win by killing the Empire. It's not going to work that way. When you're playing against, because what's great about Imperial Assault, you can play cooperatively against an app, or you can play 2-player. One player plays the Empire, the other player is the Rebels. The Rebel player isn't going to be able to kill all the Empire's troops. The Empire player's troops, they get to respawn them. When a squad of stormtroopers gets completely destroyed, the deployment card for that troop comes back to the Empire player's hand, and if he has enough threat points, which he gets each round, he can then replay that card and bring troops back to the table. They're always coming. So you have to figure out, as the Rebel player, how do I meet my objective? Get to the data pad, grab the information, and get out alive, kind of a mission style. Tell me that's not Andor. That's totally what Andor's all about. So I ended up picking up some expansions. So this is the twig part of it. Got the Heart of the Empire expansion that came in.
Looks like you have 2 of them.
Oh, yeah, right now. And then the Imperial Wait, I do have 2 of them. This one's going back.
Oh,
because look at this. They shipped it just like this. No box, just wrapped in the original foil. Wayne, look at that. Big old puncture in the back of the
ripped the whole box in the back.
ripped the whole back of the box open. Now I got to go send this back. I guess I got to go to Whole Foods to send it back.
That's weird.
But I did get a replacement.
Yeah, Whole Foods or Kohl's.
Whole Food or Kohl's?
Amazon.
Is that how they do?
Yeah, you can just bring it to Whole Foods or Kohl's and.
So there's my 2 copies of Imperial
I was
Salt.
totally off topic, but if you go to Kohl's, if you need it, whenever you return something on Amazon through Kohl's, they'll give you like a 20% off coupon right there
For the store?
For the store. So if you need to pick up anything like clothing wise,
yeah.
I don't know if Whole Foods does it, but I know Kohl's does.
I'll let you know if I pick up some kale.
Yeah,
20% off.
Like, yeah.
Whole Foods.
Because I look like a kale guy.
Yeah.
But no, Imperial Salt is on my wish list. And more expansions are coming. You'll see more to come. But I've been resetting up reorganizing everything. Because I think I left it mid campaign last time. So I don't know, Wayne, have you played Imperial Salt?
I have not, no.
Okay, so what's cool about it is you can do Call of Cthulhu style the what's the one I'm thinking of? Mansion Madness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're playing together against the app, or you can play 2-player where one player plays the baddie. What's so cool about being the baddie player is not only do you have like your stormtroopers and all that stuff that's just fun to do anyway, but as the campaign evolves, you're going to gain experience and you're going to be able to dive into different classes of Empire leader general guy. You can go like more subversive, you can go more tactical, and you're going to be able to get cards to modify how your people play, how your troopers play, and have separate events that pop up. And the opponent, the rebel side,
Why are you looking at me? The opponent.
because you're always you're the red to my blue.
Okay, all right.
Like we are always against each other. But the opponent gets to pick their set of characters, right? They're players, but each character also has these little side missions, right? So then the rebel side has a deck of cards that they've built using those side missions, plus a few missions that they've picked, plus a few missions that the Empire guy has picked, plus a few random missions into a deck. And they're going to, at the end of a mission, draw from that in order to decide where to go next. So it kind of creates this this D&D style feeling, Wayne, where each of the characters he's chosen has a mission that focuses on them. So like the Jedi player might have a mission where they go and find their lightsaber, right? Like their special lightsaber. So like it does like what D&D does when you're a good dungeon master, will pick a character in the group and then focus one adventure on them. But then the Empire side gets to throw in some missions like, you know what, I want you to see Darth Vader. So I'm going to throw in this little side mission where you get to see Darth Vader come in.
So, mandatory missions, yeah.
Yes, man. So Imperial Assault, it's been on the table. It's put some pictures on the YouTube for y'all to see. And Andor made me want to play it. That's in my twig.
Nice. All right. What you got, Wayne?
I'm trying to think. That's about it. Because
You brought me a game, Wayne.
I did bring you a game. Yeah, I did brought you. Yeah, I did brought you.
We played Kashgar. I was going to say, I don't know. You were Kashgar?
Nope. I think I left.
Did you leave before that?
I left before
Who did
that.
I play?
Yeah.
All right, who did I play with? Let's see.
Not Wayne.
Oh, that was Brandon. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think between gaming tonight and gaming last week, and that was it. Last week because it just was end of the school year for the school I work for, end of the school year for my kid who's graduating from elementary school. So a lot of school stuff going on lately. So.
Played Kashgar was my first time playing. Me, Chris, and Brendan played Kashgar Saturday night. Fun game. It's a classic. It's another older game. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but just a little tableau building kind of card collection. You got 3 columns of cards that you're acquiring.
Can you
cards.
spell that? Cash what?
K-A-S-H. Let me look at it here. I've got it on my thing. K-A-S-H-G-A-R. Merchants of the Silk Road. Kashgar.
Copy that.
2013.
Okay, so another game that's we're looking at some older-ish games here, but yeah, fun little game. You're putting we got a caller.
I was just gonna say
0
number
callers?
of calls today so far
0
is 0.
Change that to a 1.
So Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name and where you're calling from.
This is Ron from Atlanta.
Hey, Ron.
Well, hello, Ron Frazier. You are caller number 1 for the evening. Congratulations.
Number 1.
Number 1.
What brings you in?
Solid show. What brings me in? Did you guys have a guest on earlier tonight?
He's still with us. Chris is back.
Back in here. Hey, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like,
Hey, Ron.
I didn't see his face. So here. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to hear from you, brother.
Likewise. So, I was calling because I made a decision this past weekend, and I haven't had a chance to act on it yet. But you could hold me accountable to this. I have come, I've come to grips with the fact that my life is in a different stage, but that I still need to do certain things for my tabletop gaming hobby. I need an in-person group of adults. I do volunteer with a venture crew, and so sometimes I run. I'm a GM of various role-playing games for them, which is fine. I have an online group, which consists of 2 dads that I know. and that's great. But I need an adult group, so I decided that I'd bite the bullet and start my own. But that's not going to happen till the fall because this is a bad time to start a group. School year ending, like summer, people traveling, and that way lies madness. What's more relevant to the Beans and Dice podcast is that I also decided I need to play board games on a regular basis. And I am not going to be the one to organize the game days. So I need to go to somebody else's event. There are plenty of game days that are in the Atlanta area. As a matter of fact, I used to go to one on Saturdays every now and then. It's like 15 minutes away from my house. So, I decided this. I keep posting it on Instagram about doing this, but I decided that I need to go to this meetup and go reintroduce myself. There's going to be some people that I've played games with before. There'll be strangers, but just kind of go in and immerse myself in the community as a whole again, but not have any expectations on what I'm going to play. Just go in there and play games and enjoy myself, and try to make it a regular thing because it's always going to be there. Every Saturday at this restaurant, they get together in the back room, and it could be anywhere from 7 up to 30 people.
Nice.
So,
good deal.
It's important because, and I get it, you're doing a lot in the volunteer side with like kids and teens, right? And you're introducing them to games. But there is something that feels completely different about leading and teaching games than it is to just show up and play a game.
Yeah.
Like it's just a completely different feeling. Like tonight was awesome for me because there was no Carlos teaching, there was no Carlos leading the game and making sure everybody's playing the rules right. I got Rob here, I got Wayne there, and they're teaching me 2 new games to me, and I don't think I touched. At one point, Rob needed to look up a rule, and I grabbed the rule book, and it looked like for a second he thought I was going to open the rules to find said rule, and I was just handing it to him. Today I'm not putting that effort in today. I don't want to be an adult today. I'm not adulting today. Like Robert, you do the adulting. Is that what you're talking about, Ron?
In part, but also I have been the linchpin of my tabletop gaming groups for most of my adult life, whether it's RPGs or board games. That's not where I am right now. Somebody else needs to schedule the events, or in this case, I need to go to a regularly scheduled event.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way that I'm going to play games on a consistent basis. So that way, my wife and I are on the same page. That maybe every other Saturday, I'm going to this restaurant early, 3 or 4 o'clock. Eating dinner and playing games.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Yep.
And
I've gotten that way with our second Saturday game days. Now we've gotten those back on track. I'm kind of loosely the planner of that, but it's really me just trying to find a host every one, and it's been easy. The last 4, 5, 6 months, we've had just a couple people volunteer to host, so it's been real easy on me. They've actually done most of the advertising. They just post out, and for the most part, I just show up and play games, and so that's been great for me.
Yeah, we've had the Tampa Gaming Guild has done their continued their free Sundays. I've hit up a couple of those so far this year, which has been good. It is good to just show up somewhere and just play games. Yep. And I think I remember Nick talking about it too. Not even just that. It's not even just showing up to play games. It's also show up and then don't wait for the perfect game. Don't wait. Just if there's a table open, just play. It may not be a game for you, but just play it. And go, and that's at a convention too, like Dice Tower East. Just you could spend 2 hours figuring out the perfect game to play, or you could have played 2 games in that 2 hours and just get it done.
Exactly.
So, yep.
It's more about the community.
Yeah. Well,
We need that community, Ron, just having the community with other brothers, other people that have something in common with you, I think is the main thing. And then, that game creates the atmosphere for that community.
right.
And when you're not hosting, it doesn't all fall on you to provide the place, right? In this case, it's easier because it's not convenient for you there. So you get that community, someone else is providing the place, the venue for you, and then you just get that consistency, and it's great.
Yeah, that's what I need. And even like Wayne was sharing, like not even waiting for the perfect game to go and play. Because I could be playing more games, and then even on top of that, even if I waited for the perfect game, it could end up being a not great experience, right? I think I would just say one of the most fun times I had playing a game, and this was on BGA, was I jumped in a random King of Tokyo game on a Friday night. I was bored out of my mind, so I just jumped on BGA and had jumped in a King of Tokyo game, had an absolute blast, and I haven't played a game on BGA in a while. I immediately friended half of that group because it was just a ton of fun.
Bare knuckle brawl.
Yeah, I mean sometimes that's all you need in your life, right?
Yep.
So I have a question for you, Ron. And it's good that I guess you called in because it made me think of something. So I know you run D&D a lot. I've run D&D a lot. But you've run for some youth groups too. I believe you've talked in the past.
Yes.
So my kid and my kid, who's 10, 11 now actually, and a couple of his friends, they finished watching Stranger Things, and they've been bugging me to play D&D. And I love it because they are enthused, right? They're like, they came into my office. And my son's showing off. He's like, look at all the D&D books my dad has. And so they're pestering me to play. And I'm like, okay, we'll play. We'll get it going. But I actually have some trepidations and fears of it because, they've watched Stranger Things and they're like, we're gonna fight the Demogorgon and we're gonna fight Vecna, and we gotta work up to that, guys.
We gotta go get 100 wolf pelts first.
Yeah, you gotta start off small, right? So I'm like not dreading, but I'm also just the character creation aspect of a D&D game with 11-year-olds. I don't know if they're ready for that. Do I pre-make my characters and just give them their characters pre-made at level 2? What's the advice you would give for how you would set up a game for 11-year-old boys who just watched Stranger Things and they want to try a role-playing game? Do I do the character creation? Do I create the characters? How do I start them off at a higher level? What would you suggest?
Since it sounds like they never played a role-playing game in their lives.
Right.
Pen and paper I'm talking about.
Yep.
Pre-generated characters, run an adventure out of run a pre-canned adventure and don't sweat the small stuff.
Right.
Because they're not gonna know any better anyway.
Right.
I GM for Adventure Cruise, so it's what is it, 11 to 18-year-olds. So but it's these guys. They're mostly 11 to 15.
Right.
And so I run Shadow Dark, which is a simpler game. But they just have a blast. I mean, none of them own any books. I ran a one-shot for them, and then we reset. I had them make random characters, and I ran a short campaign for them. But definitely, I would do with pre-generated characters first.
And would you recommend like pre-genning characters at like say like 3rd, 4th level, so they have a bit more to do and they're not as crunchy and eatable right away, or start right at first level?
I'm a big advocate of starting your first D&D experience, a role-playing game experience, at first level or starting level.
Okay.
You know, because the characters are most fragile. Because you can get into these hilarious situations where the characters can die in a ridiculous way, and like, you know,
He said hilarious.
I know I'm with him though, because I think I was 8 or 9 or 10 in that range. My brother was 7 years older than me. They were playing D&D, and one of my brother's friends did an adventure with us. We rolled up first level characters, and we made it to the dungeon. And literally opening the dungeon door with like, okay, this goblin comes out and boop, you're dead. Like literally 5 minutes into the adventure, like my character is dead. And it's like,
You've been poked.
I've been poked. Here's your 1d4
8 hit points. You're dead.
Yeah. This is back in Thaco days and everything like that. But yeah, so I mean, all right, so pre-gen characters, first level, run them through a simple adventure. Gotcha. Yeah,
because the thing is that like you don't want to waste time making characters.
Yeah, because that takes too long.
Particularly depending on what system you're running. Because if you're running 5th edition, it's going to take a while to make the characters.
Yeah,
it's a brand new.
Yeah, probably going to do like Pathfinder, D&D 3.5 type thing, because that's what I have the most of. I really haven't bought 4th and 5th that much. Although maybe I do have some 5th. Maybe I do have some 5th.
It's going to, regardless, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, so I'll just pre-gen them. That's what I was mostly fearing. I'm like, they're going to get bored just making the characters. And then I'm like,
while you're here, Wayne, behind you is the box set. Somewhere behind you, there's my D&D stuff, is the box set for the Stranger Things D&D box set, which comes with pre-generated characters and a Demogorgon mini as your bad guy. If you want to toy around in there, see if that's something up your alley.
Maybe, yeah.
You can definitely check that out or borrow it. Yeah, always. You know, this is a library, Wayne. It's a library. Even those precariously dangerous games that are hanging over our heads, it's all for loan.
Yeah,
that's why I do. I do it for the community.
Yeah,
and Ron, I'm glad to hear you getting back into the community. But how do we hold you accountable to it? Like that was one of your asks up front, like to be your accountability buddy.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna call in.
How about we call you?
In the middle of the night
on Beans and Dice call-in show, we call you.
Or
or don't. Please don't.
Oh, I can't commit to calling next week. I'm gonna return it.
That's all right. Is it still with the Super Show?
Yeah. There's a big online.
Did you feel that too, Ron? I know you went more big Super Show, and I went more Blood Bowl on my patches. I love playing that game with that community and all that love, but it did kind of leave like a board game hole.
Well, I mean, I do not feel the void as much just because of the nature of the game and like the different stipulations and formats. But I like playing board games too, so like I'm ready to get back into playing board games. I think that I've shared with you before, like. Last year was particularly rough, losing so many people that I'm close to, right? Like it just sucked the joy out of most of the things that that I enjoy for hobbies. And it was like basically what I hung on to with a few exceptions here and there, right? Like I was still volunteering with the venture crew and
right, because we have our commitments. Like those are commitments.
Right. Yeah. Outside of my commitments, I wasn't playing board games, and I wasn't playing. My in-person D&D, my in-person role-playing game group fell apart, so that wasn't happening either, and I did not have the mental, emotional energy to pick up and get those things going. But like with the Super Show community, like I wasn't scheduling stuff. Like I was just showing up to events, and plus it's a very easy card game. Just just any card game, Magic, Pokemon, whatever. You have a deck already constructed. You just pull them out and play somebody. And that has something to do with it, but also, the community is pretty positive. Not perfect, but pretty positive. So that's what I stuck with all of last year and this, and now I'm just like, it's time for me to go branch back out to the other things that I love doing, but just in a different way.
Yeah, because there was something I found missing in playing just Blood Bowl for a while, which was the mental agility required to jump from board game to board game to board game. Right? In Blood Bowl, you got the same system. You might play different teams with different attributes. So, you got your rock, paper, scissors, trying to figure that out. But outside of that, it's the same system. When you go to a board game night and you jump to 5 different board games, you've got to have that mental agility to be able to jump into a game, figure out the inner workings, the connections, and then score well in it. And I love that challenge.
Yeah, that's true. While that is true, like that's also exhausting.
Yeah.
So it's exhausting, It's just to think of how many games that you play and how many rule sets at a high level. It's a dizzying amount.
Like, it's crazy how our brains work. How can we throw a game on the table? Rob threw Brian Baru down on the table, looked at a few rules, and then taught it. Like, and how many years has it been since you played it, Rob?
I think I played it once last year, and then maybe a couple times the year before. So yeah.
And think about all the different games Rob has played in between, and he's been able to, somewhere in his brain, keep enough knowledge on this game to last minute, no forethought, no watching videos ahead of time. Yeah. No, because when you come to Carlos's house, there's no plan on what we're doing tonight.
It's random. Hey, that looks good.
You're right, Ron. It takes a special sort of someone to be able to keep all that knowledge tucked somewhere in their brain.
Just think of all the other things that could be in our brain.
Oh, we could be doctors. We could be the brain surgeons. I'm with Rob. I'll do insurance and board games.
There you go.
Ron Frazier.
Yeah.
You are a blessing to this show. I'm certain a blessing to your family and the community around you, who will want you back to get some games in, man. I know it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. So maybe not next week, but before the end of May, at minimum, first episode of June, we always do our top 20 board. So maybe you can hit us up with what games you played in May, board game wise, that you would put on your top 20 board. That'd be one way to hold you accountable, is have you call in during the top 20 episode.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I ain't gonna be giving you a top 20, but
no,
I might have like
just
5.
your month of gaming.
Yep. All right, brother.
All right, gents.
Appreciate you.
Thanks
Have
for
a
calling,
good one.
As always.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
Remember, folks, it is a call-in show. My man Ron Frazier reminds you of that by being the one caller tonight.
I mean, we could count Chris, right?
Hey, I can't call in tonight.
You
gotta
could
count. I thought about it.
It was Mike
to be funny.
who did that. He was on the show and then called in.
Hey, I'm going to save the OGG for next week because I want to do is take a moment to highlight Chris and got to get to know his. This is his first time actually. He's been a caller, regular caller, but he hasn't been on the show. And as a member of the show, when you join in the show, one of the questions I have for our guest is, are you now or have you ever been a gamer, to kind of understand where your gaming history come from? So establish your gamer cred, Chris. Where'd you come from gaming wise?
Yeah, so I started on Nintendo. That's why I wore this shirt tonight.
The super variety.
I did play NES, but I was real little. So this was my main system, was Super Nintendo, starting out with gaming. In the 90s, going to Blockbuster Video, renting the games on the weekend, playing the games over the weekends, returning them, and all that. So I wouldn't play a lot during the week, but I'd play on the weekends. I'd play, Super Nintendo, then Nintendo 64. Then I went from Nintendo 64 to PC gaming. And then from PC gaming, I never really got into
to
Xbox.
highlight GoldenEye. Like, you didn't even talk GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah. Well, I could go back if you want to go that far. I'm trying to give you a brief overview. But yeah,
jam.
GoldenEye, I played that all the time. Yeah.
Lots of GoldenEye.
That was like one of those moments, those milestones in gaming.
You always remember
Yes.
where you were when you played your GoldenEye?
When you lock in that rumble pack, click.
That
A
game-
proximity mine.
I think that game
Those
was
are
on
my
our
favorite.
television in our dorm room or our apartment in college. That was on, like, people would be playing. One person would get to go to class, and the next person would sit down, and it just rotated.
We played it I worked at in first couple years in college. I worked at a golf course in the pro shop, and we used to hook it up on one of the TVs in the dining area. And
For all you
the time.
kids out there, when we say TVs, we mean like big, giant, like tube
TVs,
like maybe 25 inches tops, but like thick.
You weren't hanging these on the wall.
No.
No.
So you were big on video games growing up. What brought you into the what's called the pulp gaming, the paper gaming?
So after I moved to Colorado Springs, I lived there for a decade. A friend of mine that I met in one of my small groups, he played some hobby board games, and he introduced me to Munchkin, and he also introduced me to Citadels. So Citadels, and
The butterscotch candies.
Exactly. And I like Munchkin. All right. Obviously we know how it is. I mean, it can be kind of annoying, but it was still interesting. And then I played Citadels, and I'm like, this game is awesome. And then he also introduced me to Settlers of Catan.
Of course.
This what, early aughts?
I moved 2008.
Okay, so late
Yeah,
aughts.
so it was around 2009, around 2009, 2010.
That's
started.
the real golden age of gaming was just about to get started. Like,
Yep. I also played Risk as a kid. I had Risk 2210. That was one of the futuristic and Lord of the Rings Risk, and so I played
I
those.
still
as
have
a
my
kid.
copy.
Oh, you
Original
did?
first edition copy.
Well, of course you do.
With the fake gold ring.
It's up here somewhere.
I had that before my first son was born. He's 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it since because I remember the apartment I was in when I bought it.
I think I
I tried to get my wife to play it on the coffee table.
I never had that one.
a couple years ago.
You got rid of it?
Yeah.
Ah, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started with the board game hobby. I would say. I mean, I played some of those games growing up, but as far as the hobby board games, Citadels was one of my first ones. Settlers of Catan, and it kind of evolved from there as more games came out. I played more and more. We had a game store that I would attend. They had Thursday night game nights in Colorado Springs, and I would go to their game store and meet up with people, play a lot of new games. I usually wasn't teaching. But I'd bring games, but sometimes I would teach, sometimes I wouldn't. And that was a lot of fun. And so then I just got more and more into the hobby through that experience of the weekly game nights on Thursday. And then I think it was just a little bit after that, I had my first son, my first child. And then I started taking him when he was older, at some point during that process of going to Thursday nights. I would take him when he was maybe 18 months, 2 years old. And we would meet up with another coworker of mine who had a daughter that was the same age as my son, and they would play while we were playing board games. They'd play with toys and stuff.
That's how Rob and I did it.
That, yeah.
Because
Really?
most of our kids are within like less than a year of each other. All the first three,
My three.
because Rob
Yeah,
gave
his
up
5.
after 3. I went 5. The first 3 were all within a year of each other, so there was always this pairing that we were able to do every time we had a kid. So like we'd be able to pair off the kids to play while we would play. So it is helpful to find another gamer in that same life stage.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, what about now? So now you're in Texas. Tell me about your board gaming community out there.
Yeah. So most of my board game community is local. It's family. And I have like about 3 friends that are into board games, but 2 of those, let's see. Two of those friends have kids that are still in the house. So they got busy schedules with their kids too. Sometimes they'll come over and we'll do like a game night. The kids will hang out and play, and then we'll play a board game. That happens most of the time, I'd say. So the best chance I have of playing with them usually is they bring their kids over, they play with our kids, and then we do our thing. But then when it's like, say, my parents, I have a friend of my mom's who lives just a couple hours away. She comes a few times a year to visit. We always do a game night when she's in town, staying at my mom's house. She comes over. So then we have a game night of, 4 to 5, depending on whether or not my wife's working or not. So tomorrow night, segue there, we're going to be playing Park 2nd Edition, the deluxeified, version.
The pretty version.
The pretty version. I played it on Board Game Arena already, but I've not actually played my physical copy yet. So I'm looking forward to that.
I like the changes that they did with Park 2nd Edition.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the component changes, but the rule changes.
Yeah, I like some of the new rule changes too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the backstory, kind of understanding where Chris comes from. Chris, you do have a show that you started. I know that shortly after you became a regular caller on the show, you shot out a message that you were going to try to do some video production. Let the folks at home know about where they can find what you've got going on online.
Yeah, so at Pop and Tot Games on YouTube, we just review games. We also do top 10s, top 5s, just talk about different games. I do it with my son, so it is driven by my son's interest. So if my son's not interested in putting a video up, or he's not in the mood or this or that, or he's not feeling well, then we won't do it. But I come up with topics, I bounce it off of him and say, hey, what do you think about this for our next video? And he'll say yay or nay. We'll write our list up, and then we'll talk about games on the show. We already have one. The next one's going to be our favorite strategy games. We have our list. My son got sick on Monday, so he's not been feeling well the last couple of days. So he's waiting until he recovers, and probably next week we'll have that recorded and get it up by next weekend.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But
Sweet.
we enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being with us today and sharing one of the Stone. Hang on, my notes are gone. Where are my notes?
Stone spine.
I've had to look down every time.
You say it?
I don't know who said it first.
Stone Spire.
Stone Spire, but it stuck. Stone Spire stuck with me this whole time.
You heard it first, Stone Spire. So.
Yeah. Is it a better name? Stone Spine Architects or Stone Spire Architects?
Stone Spire, I think makes a better
sounds-
game.
Sounds cool.
It's a better game.
It lost like 2 stars just because of the name.
It's a deny now.
Now, Wayne, we were talking Twig.
Yep.
I didn't get to say this one on the Twig, but I wanna definitely give a shout out to Wayne, who brought over my copy of Tokaido.
The new version.
Which is funny is I actually gave it to Rob to bring to you, thinking
Yeah.
that would be like,
I
like
did.
you'll probably see him before me. So,
I didn't. I saw him about 15 minutes before you did.
There you go.
I know Chris has talked about a different version of this.
Namiji.
Namiji.
Yeah.
This looks really good.
It's just very simple.
Simple. Yeah, very simple.
It's very like chill.
But I am going to steal these Tokaido metal coins. You can take a guess where they're going.
White Castle.
Oh, White Castle. These are going with White Castle. These are great coins. They look just like the White Castle coins.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and get these into my White Castles. Thank you, Wayne, for bringing that. Chris, you didn't get to really jump into the Twig this week. Did you want to highlight anything for this week in gaming that you played to let the folks at home know what you enjoyed about gaming this week?
Absolutely. I played 3 games this week. I played Archaeology, the New Expedition, Phil Walker Hardy.
Praise be.
Praise be.
And it was a milestone. It was the first time my daughter, who is 5, has played it.
Ah, nice.
5?
5. Now she did
What
not
is
do
in
it.
the water?
Well,
over
okay.
there?
This is the caveat. She did it with the help from my wife. My wife was helping her on her turns. She had her own, deck that she was playing with. She was building her own tableau with her and with her own. And then my son, of course, played. And so it was the 4 of us. But she liked it. So, that's a good segue. If it's a game we can play multiple times, it's just another game. Because it's harder for my daughter because she's not as into games as my son. So I try to find games that I think she might like and just help her out. And she jumps in. So we played that one. We also played what's becoming kind of a favorite for my daughter, Diamant, the new version, which they redid all the artwork and the components. The new version looks way better than the old one. So we played a game of Diamant. And then lastly, with my son, I played 2 games of Star Wars, the deck building game. We flip-flop factions. I played as the Empire the first game, and he played as the Empire the second game. So, and
Were you
then
guys
some
watching
BGA
Andor?
plays too.
Did that also make you want to play some Star Wars because you were watching Andor?
No, you know what? I watched one episode and I just didn't get into it. I had a lot of other shows I was watching at the time, so that wasn't it. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, I watched that show and loved it. There's other Star Wars shows. That one just stands out right now.
I think you're with Rob because
Andor started slow. The first couple episodes, I fell asleep during one.
He
of
still hasn't
them,
even finished season 1.
No, I'm on episode 5 or 6. Yeah.
I still think it's probably the best TV Star Wars I've seen to date.
What?
Andor.
Yeah.
TV Star Wars, I'll say.
Yeah, it's close to Mandalorian.
Mandalorian's good,
Mandalorian or this.
Yeah, I've seen all Mandalorian.
But
Yeah.
just the continuity of the seasons 1 and 2 of Andor leading into Rogue One, like
Literally, like right into.
yeah,
Like I
it's
turned
awesome.
Rogue
just
One
how Rogue
on.
One leads right into New Hope. It's like you could watch Andor season 1, 2, Rogue One, and New Hope like it. Back
And
to
there's
back.
no less than 30 seconds between each, in the show timeline,
Yeah.
between each show.
It's good. Yeah, it's definitely the best Star Wars. I don't even say a TV show. Like between Andor and Rogue One, it's like my favorite. So it's good stuff.
Nice.
All right, fellas, let's do this again next week.
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll find something to talk about.
Something.
I'm hoping to get some more Imperial Salt to the table so I can get some more of that talked about and shared with y'all. Outside of that, it's been us. Thank you, Chris, for joining.
Thanks for joining.
My pleasure,
I'm
guys.
Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Wayne.
I'm
The
Chris.
Beans and Dice podcast.
There you go.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.